So Alyssa Thomas has gone full Angel Reese, and I'm kind of glad that Caitlin Clark is done. She can just go to Indiana, play golf, turn off social media, and vanish for 2 months. I'm kind of glad because it is like it's happening again, and it is people literally equating like people to Indiana fans, or not even Indiana fans, or like to Caitlin Clark. So like there was a post going viral, I actually couldn't find it. Somebody basically saying they felt unsafe at the game because of Indiana fans, and their reasoning: one person had a fake nails thing and said ban, and a t-shirt saying ban nails, and like had like fake nails, like really long fake nails, like as a thing. Someone had a ban nails and that, and and they saw one MAGA hat in the crowd. I'm not joking. Like, this is not the Alyssa Thomas thing, but it's like someone said they felt unsafe because there was one MAGA hat in a crowd of 1,000 people. And look, I don't give a fly. Like, I'm Irish. I don't give a damn what your political leaning is. I just want to talk basketball. But like, if again, I don't even know anything about the American system. Like, I'm oblivious to it. Like, I don't know. I don't want to necessarily know because it just seems. Anyhow, I know in America it just seems like a lot of doom and gloom, and I have enough problems being in Ireland. But like, somehow those two individual people and the long nails ban nails thing, I don't see that as a. I know. Am I wrong with it, or is that just like sports heckling? Is that just like sports heckling? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think like nothing else was said other than ban nails. Like, maybe there's more to it that I don't understand, but whatever. Like, and if there is, and if it's a bigger deal, okay, I concede that point. But I just don't know. But like one person, but like again, you've picked out two random people in the crowd, and are like, I feel unsafe because of two random people in a crowd of 1,000 who are doing nothing, Like, realistically, they're doing nothing. And then Alyssa Thomas has come out and done the Angel Reese. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments like from Fever fan base. It's honestly unacceptable. No place for it. And the one thing is, like, the things that I've been called on social media is no place for it. If you know anything about Alyssa Thomas, the Angel Reese fans, where it got so bad she had to turn off her comments on Instagram, and Dewana Bonner had to publicly defend her because they started accusing her of being a domestic abuser. And by the way, it's not right. It's not right. But again, as I've said, these people are psychopaths. These people are like, they don't live, these are chronically online, not even necessarily internet trolls. These are chronically online people that don't, like, this is the problem with celebrity culture. They don't treat celebrities like humans, and that's not an issue. That's realistically, it's not even Fever fans. That is idiots online. And as I've said again, at least she didn't say Caitlin Clark fans. But it's like, as I've said again, Caitlin Clark's not responsible for the fans. Angel Reese not responsible. AJ Wilson was not responsible. But the issue with this is that this is going, not even the Streisand effect, where it's like, I don't know what way to say it, but it's like, the more you feed the troll, like the more you feed the trolls, the worse it's gonna get. And by the way, I'm not saying any of this is right. We all, like, I consider myself like a reasonable person. I think anyone that doesn't think this is just objective, like completely wrong, is just a not good person. Like, no one should have to deal with this stuff. And that is obvious. The Dejanay stuff, she shouldn't have to deal with that. I don't like Dejanay Carrington. She doesn't deserve that. I don't like Alyssa Thomas. She does not deserve to see that on social media. But the problem is that a lot of people are like, oh, the league needs to do something. The league needs to do. What does the league need to do to stop this? Nothing's going to make this better. That is the problem. Nothing's going to make this better. If you think that Alyssa Thomas has gotten 1% of the abuse, of the racist abuse LeBron James gets if he misses a game winner, you're mistaken. It is an unfortunate symptom of the growth of the league. It is an extremely unfortunate symptom. In the reality, like and in the WNBA obviously released a statement. They have to do it now. It's a competitive league with mostly athletes. While we welcome growing fan base, they'll not tolerate it. But the problem is, like, not tolerate. What can you do? That's the problem. Is what can you do? What can you do? We won't tolerate it. Like, we're actively monitoring, the league security is actively monitoring threat-related activity, and will work directly with teams and areas to make sure appropriate measures, including new law enforcement as necessary. Cool. Great. And I mean that. Great. If there's something happening in the stadium, but nothing's happening in the stadium. Nothing's happening in the stadium because this is all terminally online, people. Like, that's the issue. And I'm sorry, someone wearing a thing saying ban nails. Fair enough if someone says, just take off the shirt, like, take off the nails, like, come on. Like, there's just calm down. Just don't do that. It's something. But, like, let's not overblow that. The problem is that you cannot tolerate as want. Let's be real. 99.9% of the world do not tolerate racism. Let's be real. But the problem is that 0.1% of the world is still it's probably it's a couple hundred million people. That's the problem. That's the problem with this all. But it's like basketball's headed in a great place, but we don't want fans that are going to degrade us and call us racial things. The problem is we already see that's happening. What's happening in the world, what we have to deal with in that aspect. We come to play basketball for our job. It's fun. We don't want to go to work every day and have social media blown up. That quote's only going to make it worse. And I genuinely mean this from the players. For the players' own perspective, from the players themselves. And this is not coming from like a position of hate. Like, look, I don't know any of these players as people. I don't want to know any of these players as people. Like, the reality is like, I think there's a weird parasocial relationship between WNBA players and fans. So that's the I think that's one of the big differences, is that there is that parasocial relationship. So a lot of these WNBA players on social media have been interacting with fans before and after games, and are looking through their mentions and like kind of interacting with people. And that nowadays there are just so many people that no matter what, if you're doom scrolling, you're going to see the trolls. Even if it's 75% positive, you're going to see the 25%. Especially, no offense to Alyssa Thomas, when you are probably the dirtiest player in the league. When you chokeslammed Angel Reese, when you nearly broke Caitlin's jaw, and plenty of other stuff. This thing, what happened with Stewie last year? Like, the unfortunate truth is that the league has now changed. They've got to do what NBA players do. They've got to do it. These WNBA players cannot run their own social media accounts, especially Twitter. On Instagram, do not ever click into your comment section. And I get it. This shouldn't be the case. And I'm being 100% like honest in this. This should not be the case. Like, there is no scenario where these players should have to deal with this stuff. It is not right. It is not right what's happening to these players. But it is an unfortunate consequence of celebrity culture. And the reality is it's not going to stop. No amount of talking out is going to stop. The only thing that can happen if Caitlin Clark, quote unquote, is responsible for her fans, like, speaks out about it. She's already done that. She's already done it, and nothing changed. Nothing changed. And not even Caitlin Clark's fans, the crazies. I'll call them the Caitlin crazies. I've got the Angel Reese crazies, the Caitlin crazies. They're the same thing. They're the same thing. And like, heck, there was some of them on YouTube. Some YouTube channels that, like, in general, I think have gotten just a little bit too overhyped in the like stuff, and we're saying that wasn't a 3-point celebration. It's a freaking Carmelo Anthony celebration. Like, I don't know. And it's just unfortunate because this is not going to get better next season. It's going to get worse. And we saw it in college basketball. Like, we saw it, for example, we saw it with Gabby Marshall. In the Iowa UConn game. Like, how much abuse she got. We saw it the year before during the this situation. Like, we have we've seen all these situations. Like, the reality is that women's college basketball last year had more fans than the WNBA has this year. That is the truth. More people were interested in women's college basketball last year than WNBA this year. I can guarantee you next year, if Paige Beckers drops a stinker, she's going to get some of the most abuse online. I can guarantee you if Juju Watkins drops a stinker, she's going to get abuse online. It's just unfortunate. It's extremely, extremely, extremely unfortunate. But the WNBA has got to prep these players. They've got to prep these players on social media, because if it turns out that like it's not going to stop. So what's the next best thing you can do when you can't actually stop it? Is putting the players in a position that they have to deal with it as little as possible, so that this stuff is never going to not be there. You got to make sure the players have the right resources so that they don't see it. Like, it's not going to go away, and that's just it's horrible to say this, but it's not. The WNBA needs to put in measures, and I stand by this. The WNBA needs to put in measures. They need to hire social media. The league needs to do this. Not the teams. The league needs to do this, because this is as important as anything for these players now. Because the NBA has people for this. They have people teaching these players about social media, what to do, what not to do. Every single team needs to have somebody hired, probably maybe two people hired to manage players' social media accounts. And if the players back out of that offering, they deal with the consequences themselves. But every team should have those hires. That's the only thing the WNBA can do. Is they can't prevent what idiots online say, but what they can do is try as much as possible mitigate the impact of it by making sure the players don't see it. It's horrible to say. It's the unfortunate truth. But that's it. And also from the players, stop the parasocial relationships with fans. And no, these fans a lot of the time are just internet trolls. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're crazed fans. But we've seen Aces crazed fans. We've seen Fever fans. We've seen fans of everything. And that's the problem with sports growing. That is just unfortunate. But because these players have now developed parasocial relationships with fans, they treat every single fan the same, because they've been constantly interacting with them on Twitter, and over the years been like, oh, these are my, like, following them and just responding to fans, just talking about stuff, where it's like the relationship between player and fan in, say, the NBA is non-existent, and rightfully non-existent. So if you have built a relationship with certain fans, you're more than likely going to take it more like personally if another anonymous, no profile picture fan says something about you. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Obviously it's not right, but feeding the trolls has got to stop. And I don't know what they're going to do, because do they expect the WNBA to, and like, by the way, this is not going to stop. This is not going to stop. If something happens, I'm telling you, these fans, like, if people are like, just people that just in general, fans love not Dejanay Carton, sorry. Fans love Fee Collier. Fans love Fee Collier. If Alyssa Thomas does something to Fee Collier, it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. If they make the finals and she does something to Sabrina, it's going to be equally as bad. I hope she knows that.